Every great journey begins with a single, clear goal. For Sam, a regular guy with a common ambition, that goal was to finally see his abs. He wasn't chasing an extreme physique, but he wanted to look in the mirror and see the results of his hard work. At the start, Sam weighed 160 pounds with a body fat percentage of around 25%. This meant that approximately 40 pounds of his total weight was fat. Now, many people in this situation dive headfirst into endless crunches and sit-ups, believing that targeting the stomach is the secret. But science and Sam's journey tells us a different, more effective story. The truth is, you can't spot reduce fat from one area of your body. Abs are made in the kitchen, as the saying goes, but they are revealed by lowering your overall body fat percentage. Understanding this fundamental principle was Sam's first major breakthrough. It shifted his focus from punishing ab workouts to a smarter, more holistic strategy grounded in evidence-based health practices. His goal wasn't just to lose weight, it was to strategically reduce body fat while preserving as much lean muscle as possible. This is a critical distinction. Losing weight can mean losing water, muscle, and fat indiscriminately, which can be detrimental to your metabolism and overall health. Sam's objective was a true body recomposition, a process of changing the makeup of his body for a leaner, stronger, and healthier result. This realistic, science-backed mindset set the stage for a transformation that was not only successful but, more importantly, sustainable for the long term. His journey began not with a fad diet or an impossibly intense workout plan, but with education. He learned that to get from 25% body fat to the roughly 15% needed for visible abs, he would need a consistent and patient approach. This meant acknowledging that quick fixes are almost always a setup for failure. The path forward required small, intelligent changes that he could stick with day after day, week after week. It was about building habits, not just enduring a temporary period of suffering. Sam embraced the idea that his body was a complex system that needed to be worked with, not against. This patient-informed approach is what separates lasting transformations from the fleeting results of crash diets and over-exercising. So, with a clear target and a solid science-informed strategy, Sam was ready to begin. His starting point was not a source of shame but a simple data point, a place from which he could measure his progress. He wasn't at war with his body, he was partnering with it. This positive and realistic outlook is something I always recommend. Your fitness journey should empower you, not defeat you. Sam's story is a powerful testament to the idea that with the right knowledge and a consistent plan, anyone can achieve their goals in a healthy, sustainable way. He was ready to prove that a scientific approach could deliver the real-world results he was looking for, without sacrificing his well-being in the process. The cornerstone of any successful fat loss plan is nutrition. It's the engine that drives your results. For Sam, this meant creating a moderate and sustainable calorie deficit. Based on his activity level and metabolism, his maintenance calories were approximately 2,600 per day. To lose about 1 pound of fat per week, a deficit of 500 calories per day is a scientifically sound target. So, Sam aimed for a daily intake of around 2,100 calories. This wasn't a random number plucked from the air, it was a calculated goal designed to promote steady fat loss without causing extreme hunger, nutrient deficiencies, or the metabolic slowdown associated with overly aggressive diets. This moderate approach is key for long-term adherence and success. To make this calorie target manageable, Sam didn't overhaul his entire diet overnight. Instead, he focused on making smart, simple swaps. He didn't eliminate his favorite foods, which often leads to feelings of deprivation and eventual binging. Rather, he found lower-calorie alternatives. For instance, he might swap a sugary soda for a diet version or flavored sparkling water, or choose Greek yogurt with berries over a high-calorie dessert. He started reading nutrition labels and became more mindful of portion sizes. To ensure he was staying on track, Sam used a calorie tracking app on his phone. This simple tool provided invaluable data and accountability, helping him understand exactly what he was consuming each day and making it easier to adjust as needed. This method of tracking and making mindful swaps is far more effective than restrictive dieting. Extreme diets that cut out entire food groups are not only difficult to maintain, but can also be nutritionally incomplete. Sam's approach allowed him to enjoy a variety of foods while still hitting his calorie and macronutrient goals. He prioritized protein to help with satiety and muscle preservation, filled his plates with vegetables for volume and micronutrients, and included healthy fats and complex carbohydrates for sustained energy. This balanced approach ensured he felt good, had energy for his workouts, and never felt like he was on a diet in the traditional restrictive sense. It was simply a more conscious way of eating. The result of this nutritional strategy was consistent, predictable progress. Sam was losing fat without feeling constantly hungry or deprived. He was learning lifelong habits about nutrition and portion control that would serve him well long after his initial fat loss phase was over. This is the true goal of any health journey, not just to reach a destination, but to learn how to navigate the road for life. By building his foundation on smart, sustainable nutritional principles, Sam set himself up for a transformation that would last, proving that you don't need to suffer to succeed. You just need to be consistent, informed, and patient with the process. While diet is crucial for revealing abs, strength training is what builds and preserves the muscle that gives your physique its shape and strength. Sam understood that during a calorie deficit, the body can be tempted to break down muscle tissue for energy. To prevent this, he prioritized full-body resistance training sessions 3 times per week. This approach ensured that all his major muscle groups received regular stimulation, sending a powerful signal to his body to hold on to its hard-earned muscle. A full-body routine is incredibly efficient, providing a great metabolic boost and ensuring balanced development of strength across the entire body. It's a strategy I often recommend for beginners and seasoned lifters alike for its effectiveness and time efficiency. Instead of focusing solely on his abs, Sam's training emphasized compound movements like squats, deadlifts, bench presses, and rows. These exercises engage multiple muscle groups at once, burning more calories and building functional strength. He also paid special attention to his back and shoulders. Building a wider back and broader shoulders creates a more pronounced V-taper, an illusion that makes the waist appear narrower and makes the abdominal area look more defined even at a slightly higher body fat percentage. This is a classic example of training smarter, not just harder. It's about understanding how to build a balanced, aesthetically pleasing physique through strategic exercise selection. Cardio was another essential piece of the puzzle, but Sam approached it with a focus on enjoyment and consistency. Many people force themselves to spend hours on a treadmill, an activity they despise, and they inevitably burn out and quit. Sam knew that the best form of cardio is the one you'll actually do. For him, that was playing basketball. He joined a local league and played a few times a week. This didn't feel like a chore. It was fun, social, and a great way to relieve stress. This enjoyable activity helped him burn extra calories to deepen his deficit, improve his cardiovascular health, and stay active without feeling like he was living in the gym. After 90 days of this consistent, intelligent approach, the results were undeniable. Sam had lost 11 pounds, his waist measurement had decreased by 3.5 centimeters, and his body fat had dropped to the 18 to 20% range. While he wasn't shredded just yet, the changes were significant. His face was leaner, his clothes fit better, and the outline of his abs was beginning to emerge. He had achieved this progress without resorting to any extreme measures, without giving up his social life, and without burning out. He had built a solid framework of muscle and established sustainable habits that were carrying him steadily toward his ultimate goal. Every fat loss journey eventually hits a point where progress seems to grind to a halt. This is the dreaded plateau, and honestly, it's a completely normal part of the process. After his initial 90 days of success, Sam experienced this firsthand. The scale stopped moving, and the visual changes became a lot less dramatic. But this wasn't because his plan had stopped working, it was because his body had adjusted to his new reality. As he lost weight, his metabolism naturally slowed down. A lighter body just requires less energy to function, so his daily maintenance calorie needs had decreased. That 2,100 calorie intake that once created a deficit, it was now pretty close to his new maintenance level. This is where science and careful adjustment become really critical. Instead of getting discouraged, Sam and his coach looked at the data. To get things moving again, they made a small adjustment, reducing his daily calorie intake to around 1,900. This re-established the necessary deficit to keep prompting fat loss. However, this phase also brought some new challenges. Sam started feeling more fatigued, and his strength in the gym began to decline just a bit. This wasn't just because of the lower calories, it was also a result of hormonal changes that occur as the body gets leaner. It's actually a sign that the body is working hard to conserve energy, a survival mechanism that's deeply ingrained in our biology. One of the key players in this process is a hormone called leptin. Leptin is produced by fat cells and acts as a signal to the brain, essentially telling it how much body fat is available. When you lose a significant amount of fat, your leptin levels drop. Lower leptin signals to your brain that energy reserves are dwindling, which triggers a cascade of responses. Your hunger increases, your energy expenditure decreases, and you might feel more lethargic. This is the body's way of trying to protect itself from what it perceives as potential starvation. For men, these effects often become more pronounced as they approach the 15% body fat mark. Understanding this biological reality was crucial for Sam. It helped him realize that his feelings of fatigue and increased hunger were not a personal failing, but a predictable physiological response. It really reinforced the need to be patient and listen to his body. Pushing too hard at this stage can lead to burnout, muscle loss, and a compromised immune system. Instead, he focused on optimizing his recovery through adequate sleep, managing his stress levels, and making sure his training was productive, but not excessive. The plateau wasn't a roadblock. It was actually a checkpoint that required a more nuanced and attentive approach to continue moving forward safely and effectively. After about 150 days of consistent effort, Sam reached his goal. He weighed in at 143 pounds, and his body fat percentage was a lean 14.6%. His abs were clearly visible, and he had achieved the physique he had set out to build. But more importantly, he recognized that he had reached a point of diminishing returns. Pushing to get even leaner would likely come at the cost of his strength, his energy levels, and his overall well-being. He had achieved his goal, and now it was time to transition from a phase of active fat loss to one of sustainable maintenance. This decision to stop cutting is just as important as the decision to start. The transition to maintenance is a critical step that honestly a lot of people overlook. Instead of immediately jumping back to his old eating habits, Sam slowly and methodically increased his calorie intake over several weeks. This process, often called a reverse diet, allows the metabolism to adapt gradually to the higher food intake, minimizing fat regain. He found his new maintenance level and settled into a lifestyle where he could enjoy food, train hard, and maintain his new lean physique without the constant stress of being in a calorie deficit. He had not only earned his results but had also learned how to keep them for the long haul. Sam's journey offers several powerful, practical takeaways for anyone looking to achieve similar results. First, a moderate calorie deficit of around 500 calories is a proven, sustainable starting point. Second, tracking your food intake with an app provides the awareness and accountability needed to stay on course. Third, prioritize full-body strength training to preserve precious muscle mass and boost your metabolism. Fourth, find a form of cardio that you genuinely enjoy, because, honestly, consistency is what truly matters. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, listen to your body and be prepared to adjust your plan as you progress, especially when you encounter plateaus. Ultimately, this story is about more than just getting a six-pack. It's a blueprint for achieving lasting fat loss in a healthy, science-backed way. It really demonstrates that you don't need to resort to crash diets, dangerous supplements, or endless hours of miserable exercise. What you need is a smart plan, a dose of patience, and the consistency to see it through. Sam's transformation shows that by respecting your body's biology and working with it, you can achieve incredible results and build the foundation for a lifetime of health and fitness. This is not a quick fix, it's a real, sustainable solution.